So the human experience also has to do with your experience with the clinician,
That I fully agree with. You walk into an
right?
appointment and am I going to be comforted? Am I going to feel good? Am I going to feel safe to follow
Heard.
this person into the darkness? Or am I going to be hands up, get me the hell out of here? Hello, and welcome back to another week of Calling in Sick. This week, we are doing a guest episode, and I have someone very, very special for you guys. Her name is Dr. Jennifer Ashby. Dr. Jennifer Ashby is a leading doctor of East Asian medicine. She practices at UCSF's Osher Center for Integrative Health. She has multiple online courses. What was so fascinating to me, when I first met Jen, I was blown away by the fact that she had found a way to bring traditional Eastern medicine into the confines of a Western medicine facility and guide patients that were perhaps getting Western treatment alongside the Eastern healing pathway. She's also a prominent researcher, avid public speaker, and has published a couple online courses. If you have curiosity around them, there's info in the description below. In this episode, we talk about everything between what is Eastern medicine, what versus Western medicine, how do they play together or against each other, why there's biases in society around that, and how to bring foundational learnings of TCM into your daily life. I think you'll walk away from this episode feeling like you have more tools in your toolbox, a set of ease and comfort in how you're approaching your health right now. And honestly, you'll probably walk away super calm because Jen is Xanax in human form. Her voice, how she storytells, how she describes information is so approachable, palatable, digestible, that not only did I feel calm after our conversation, I felt inspired to go and make some little micro changes to get some easy layups in integrating these new tools into my life. But before we dive into that, quick catch up as we do. Housekeeping first. If you don't already follow or subscribe, please hit that follow or subscribe button. And if you do already follow or subscribe, feel free to like, comment, send this to a friend or a doctor or whoever, or nobody at all, and just enjoy the episode because that is enough in and of itself. Thank you for being here with us. This week in the comment section, and you'll find out why later, I want you to put the top 3 things that you do that you think improve your health and well-being. They don't have to be taking a certain medication. They can be a mindset. The world is your oyster, but I'm curious, what are your solid 3? I'm not going to give mine away. You'll have to listen to the episode for that. But my Alex's picks of the week definitely support the things that I share. So for my Alex's picks this week, I wanted to incorporate 2 things that I use that help me accomplish the 3 things I do that make me feel better. The first one is for Sigmatic's Happy Gut. It's an organic golden latte mix, no dairy, don't worry, that just feels like a hug in a cup. And I have it every single night before bed. It's relaxing. It's my me time. Sometimes I do a face mask. Sometimes I don't. I talked about it in my interview with Higher Dose. Self-care can be 5 minutes or it can be an hour. Whatever it just is for you to find recentering. And having my nightly cup of tea is how I recenter. My second pick of the week is my massive Coracle water bottle. Who would I be without my hyperhydration fixation? Cooper and I are always in a competition to see who's drank more water in the day. It is an ongoing competition. I think I'm winning. I'm usually winning at being hydrated. Not that I'm counting. I am Cooper. I'm at 3 today. 3 cups. Anywho, if you would like to get on your hydration station to water haze your partner, get competitive with your water drinking, feel free to join me. Description in the link below. If I can get you guys discount codes, I will. They will be there as well. And without further ado, let's go spend some time with Jen because she's fabulous and I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Hello and welcome back to another week of Calling in Sick. I'm your host, Alex Wilderson, and with me today I have the wonderful Dr. Jennifer Ashby. Hey, Jen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me on a long weekend to chat about traditional Chinese medicine in the Western world.
Perfect. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. So, TLDR audience, we got put in contact together through a mutual friend and had a kickoff call to kind of chat through what we might record about. And I walked away from that feeling like I had just sat on the couch with like a best friend from years and years. My heart felt so full afterwards. You are so full of wisdom and just kindness and joy. And you brought my cortisol levels down just in a conversation. So If you're having one of those weeks, get ready to feel relaxed after this episode.
You just like made all the work worth it. Like that's the
Yes.
best like advocacy, like three sentences anyone could give anyone. So thank you.
Of course, it's very true. I mean, you are seriously a breath of fresh air and have the most interesting story of kind of how you've gone through the medical field and how you help people. I'm not going to do it justice, so I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'd love for you to share your journey and your story.
So it's funny. I didn't come into Chinese medicine because it was something I aspired to do. I came into it because my little sister Vanessa didn't know what she wanted to do with her life, and I was trying to help her find a trajectory. And in that process, I set up an appointment for her at an acupuncture college. She fell asleep while we were talking to the dean. I applied to grad school. And that, yeah, crazy, huh? That was like 1992 or three. East Asian medicine is like it's like a martial art. You spend your entire life studying it, trying to get good. So I'm at the 31 year mark, and I'm just realizing that like I have something more to offer than just clinical work.
Yeah.
And this field has raised me, kept me healthy, kept my children healthy, kept my patients healthy. And now at this point in my career, the reach is the general public, people at large. It's been had the coolest career.
You really have. And the way that it's moved and turned through all these different phases and chapters for you, I think it's allowed you to explore introducing people to TCM in different ways, which I find to be really interesting because people have very polarizing reactions, I think, to anything not Western
Oh,
medicine. How has that been kind of looking at introducing the general public in today's world to the work that you do and helping people integrate that into their life?
that's such a good question. So I always say my superhero power is taking the medicine that I have the privilege of practicing and turning it into using terminology that the Western world understands and identifies with without bastardizing this amazing medicine that I get to practice.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
so it's taken a long time. I think my biggest shift in that was when I started at UCSF 11 years ago, realizing that if I used East Asian medicine terminology, people just glazed over, and I just lost that like 1.5 minute elevator pitch moment.
Yeah.
And so the next really big turn in that for me was, I mean, was being able to write the acupuncture protocol for a $2.7 million Precori grant at UCSF with Maria Chow. And in that, which was very well received. It's now, I am first author published in Western peer-reviewed medical journals for that protocol. And that's a big step for what I do. I'm not the
Huge.
first and I won't be the last, but every one of us that can really be good ambassadors in this field helps move it forward in a very Western dominant world. I'm not against Western medicine at all. Thank God for Western medicine. I use it all the time. But I think if we start a little bit with some statistics that like right now, what's called CAM or complementary and alternative medicines,
Hmm.
like 36 to 37% of the population utilizes it, and since 2022, which is
Whoa.
up from I think 19% in 2002. And the market right now is over $28 billion, and it's estimated in 2033 to go up to $229 billion.
Holy guacamole. Okay. So
So if we
things are
just
moving
look
in
at
this direction.
if we look at statistics, it's supply and demand. So what's the engine kind of pushing forward for the utilization of complementary and alternative methods to the Western dominated narrative? And I think it's several things. I think people are in a different place. in history in terms of wanting to have more say and power over their own health and well-being. And I think that that's often confused with thinking they know best beyond Western medicine. And I don't honestly
Yes.
think that's the case. I think it has more to do with, well, maybe Western medicine isn't the only thing that can help, and that people stop looking at it as an either or, but that they can really work synchronistically together. And that really ends up being a lot of the work I do at UCSF because I treat such medically complex um, patients there. And I do predominantly women's health and oncology and nephrology, kidney disease. Um, I don't even remember what your question was now, Alex. I'm
Well,
off on my tangent.
I love what you just said about how it's complementary to each other. And we do live in such a polarizing world right now where I think more often than not, people feel very comfortable to just sit in a camp of this is how I treat my disease, this is how I treat my health, because I know it works. And I think that comes out
Yeah.
of a place of fear of like, what if I'm doing it wrong? Like, what if I've
Yes. Oh,
wasted all these years and
you
I'm
know
doing it
that's my
wrong?
line. How do I
Yes,
know
it
if I'm
is.
doing it right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that has allowed, I think these camps of thinking is ripe for disruption then, which is exactly what you're doing. You are showing people in proof through your career, through how you're treating and healing people, that you can pull all of these different tools and create your own cocktail, if you will, that helps you really understand and heal your own body with these different modalities or pathways or whatnot. So at UCSF, how the hell does that work? How did you get into it? I've never in my life heard of TCM in a Western hospital before. And when you
Yeah.
told me that you were doing that, my mind was blown in the best way possible.
It's so when I said like I've had the coolest career ever, that's
You
a big part
have.
of it. I've been able to do things I could never have done if I just remained in private practice. So 11 years ago, a job was available. I applied. It was like something like 6 interviews and took like 10 months to get vetted. And it's kind of pioneering. So I work with an amazing team of 6 acupuncturists, and we're not really just acupuncturists. That would be somebody that just puts needles in people. We call ourselves the Integrative East Asian Medicine Team at the Osher Center of Integrative Health. So we are a stand-alone clinic that was created and funded by Bernard Osher. Um, and has it takes everything that's not mainstream and takes a little peek at it. And so we all get to practice very pragmatically, and there's an informal nature as to how we treat each other's patients and talk about what's working and what's not working. And there's also formal components. We have clinical case conferences every week. And so there's a lot of cross education in what we do. But this integrative East Asian medicine team outnumbers any other discipline at the Osher Center by at least double by supply and demand. I'm very proud of that. So I'm one of the 2 senior acupuncturists there. And what does integrative East Asian medicine mean? It means that and we're not just doing what we know in East Asian medicine or traditional Chinese medicine. I incorporate labs and pharmacy, or in these cases mostly polypharmacy. They're on multiple pharmaceutical drugs and procedures and surgeries, and I look at imaging and I incorporate all of that into a treatment principle for these patients. But with that also comes, after years, the understanding of different cancers and their personalities and where they like to metastasize, and their treatments as well have personalities and ways that that we see their effects on the human body. And so instead of working to counteract the negative effects of these treatments, we work to not reduce efficacy of treatment, but reducing side effects to help keep people in treatment, getting better outcomes of treatment. And so part of it was just people really want this.
So, what does it look like when a patient comes and sees you from when they first learn about the option to even come and work with an integrative group like y'all's? And then once they say, yeah, I think I want to give that a try, what does that whole
Mhm.
process look like?
Well, I can, for me personally, I mean, for most of my team. So right now I'm working on solutions, but my first new patient appointment at UCSF is February 2026.
Whew,
Yeah.
you're a
Eh,
popular lady.
well, it's not, it's about outcomes, right? So doctors are seeing that their patients are doing better. Patients know other people that have done better, um, whether it's women's health, like pain management,
Yeah,
uh, for endometriosis or pelvic pain or fertility issues or migraines associated with hormones, or whether it's people going through cancer treatment or into survivorship. What it's like is you sit down with me for a full hour. We get a full hour at my private
so
practice and
lovely.
at UCSF. I know. And in that hour, we're not lollygagging. I've got an entire, first, I always say to a patient, tell me your story. And they say, where do you want me to begin? And I go, wherever you see is relevant, because that tells me a lot about you. So you just start talking, and I'm going to have a million questions, and I'm going
Yeah,
to
fair.
interrupt you when I need clarifying. I need to ask clarifying questions. So we sit and we talk. And part of studying traditional Chinese medicine is that we are the OGs of integrative health. We are the only discipline where every component of integrative medicine is tied into our licensure. So I'm
Okay, tell me more about
inquiring
that.
about your diet and your sleep patterns and your exercise and your home environment and your emotions. East Asian medicine, there's no, and I use traditional Chinese and East Asian interchangeably. Um, there's no separation between the spiritual, the emotional, and the physical person.
I love that because that's what
There's
real
no
life is.
words. There's no language
That's
in
so
Chinese medicine to separate a person from those three components of self.
And that completely changes how you then treat patients because it's whole body, whole mind, whole
Person
soul, whole person.
medicine.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we are trained, we use all of our senses, minus taste, of course, although we do taste herbs. Um,
true.
we are listening to you. We are smelling what your body is like. We are paying attention to the strength of your voice. We are touching your belly and parts of your body to look for tenderness. We are sensing you
Hmm.
while you're telling us your story, which covers like all 10 of the major systems in Western medicine, is 4,000 years ago was already integrated into the line of questioning in East Asian medicine. The congruous parts of the two medicines are never cease to amaze me. Um, and so through that, we do this line of questioning, and I will have looked at your labs and your imaging and your diagnostics in the last 3 months of charting from your other clinicians, as relevant to what you're coming to see me for. And then I feel your pulses. And in East Asian medicine, we feel 9 pulses on each wrist that can take on, I think, 28 different qualities. That's the art
Whoa.
form, I know. And where that's located on your wrist is directly correlated to an organ.
Hmm.
And then I look at your tongue. And yes, I look at everybody's tongue. Somebody told me on TikTok I should like do this cheeky thing where I look at famous people's tongues and I tell them what their
Yes,
symptomology is, even if they're just like being interviewed, and it would be like the best cheeky thing ever.
you should.
Um,
I think people would be fascinated by that because the tongue does tell us so much
it
and it's
does.
so not looked at in Western medicine, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
oh no, not at all. So the tongue itself, the shape of the tongue, we're looking for color and changes in topography and coating and thickness and narrowness and stiffness or flaccidity. And it's like there's nothing about the tongue, and where those things happen, the location of that directly correlates to organs that then directly correlate to the pulses. And I mix all that up with the labs and the imaging and the notes with the hour we've taken to talk. And I know a whole bunch about you. And I develop a treatment plan and I treat you based on that. I mean, it's like the best party trick in the world to, I lecture and teach at UC a lot. And I go around the room to students first and fourth years and fellows, and I feel their pulses and I look at their tongue and I whisper in their ear what I think's going on with them.
Oh my gosh, I
And
love that.
nine every 10 times they're like, "Oh, how did you know that?" And I'm like, "I know it seems like a magic trick, but it's not. If you know how to read a body, it's not even that interesting. It's just factual." Does that make sense? So I say to patients when they walk in the room, "You're a storyteller and I'm a painter. And you have to tell me your story well enough that at the end of our talking, I flip this canvas around to you and you recognize my painting as your story."
Oh my gosh, Jen, I love how you just said that.
Thanks.
That's interesting because then it shows the patient that you're in it with them, like you're collaborating already from the get-go.
And that's another really important thing. I got into this medicine because I can't fix anybody. Everybody fixes themselves. I have no special magical powers, or I can't make your body do anything, right? Like I make suggestions to you and your body takes it or leaves it. And if it's leaving it, it's my job to find out why and see
That
what we need to shift.
that I think so many people when something doesn't work, they think either one, okay, I'm going to write this off forever, or two, there's something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong instead of, hey, we just got to tweak something. And that's what I
Hmm.
love about TCM and integrative and East Asian medicine is like it's so collaborative, it's so what's what I'm looking for? Malleable
Yeah,
to
it is.
each patient
There's
and each part of their journey.
That's individualized medicine and it flexes with you. I mean, I think a big part of the empowerment for people coming to East Asian medicine is that I we have to partner. I can't do it for you. I mean, sometimes I can do some heavy lifting if you're having a particularly bad day, but that has more to do with trusting me and being able to hand it over for a moment, trusting that I have your best interest at heart. It's such an interpersonal relationship if you're really in it. I mean, there are people that do orthopedics and just do neuromusculoskeletal pain. It doesn't mean they're less invested, it's just different, slightly different.
It is, and I think it's because the patients that come to you are at the point where they know that there's not a silver bullet out there at in any healing modality or world. And so they're at the point where they've understood and maybe taken on the the desire or like the need to be involved and at the spearhead of their health and do the hard work because healing is not easy. Healing is not taking a pill and getting better. That's magical thinking that healthy people have. The real thing when you get sick is that you actually have to take the pill and then do all of these other things if you want to get better. And maybe it's not
Girl,
take
you're
the pill. That's
well, no,
teach their own. But in my world,
it
it's both.
depends. Yeah, it depends on what the diagnosis is, right? It depends on what the road to recovery is, and a lot of people have to take the pill. But girl, you just like seriously spoke my language. So there's a lot to be said. I was saying earlier, there's a great book that was written called A Life Worth Living. And it was an ER doc that I can't remember. He needed to understand the process of healing or not healing. And he took three cancer patients, and I can't remember what the correlation. I don't think they had the same cancer, maybe similar staging. One did completely complementary and alternative medicine, one did only Western, and one did a combo of both. And the truth in what he found was not what he thought he was going to find. Outcomes were not that much better or worse for any of the modalities, right? You might think that the person that just did complementary and alternative would have a better outcome ultimately to cancer. But no, the outcomes weren't that different. What he found was that the magic juice was that they got to do it the way they wanted to. And
Totally agree.
their bodies responded that way. Now, I would not forego Western medical treatment if I had cancer. I mean, that's just me. And
Likewise.
like, I'm like, I'm like coded in East Asian and CAM, you know? But that doesn't mean that for other people it's not more powerful because of a belief structure. So that leads me to this, there's an entire component. that we're missing. And it used to be called the placebo effect. There's also something called the nocebo effect, which is the belief that it won't work, right?
Huh. Oh, yeah, makes
But
sense.
the placebo effect is believing that it is or will work.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Isn't that the best outcome that people get better because they believe?
It's
Isn't that
truly
what
the best outcome,
religion, isn't that
actually.
what religion is?
Yeah.
Right? Like any belief,
Yeah.
it's faith. Faith is powerful.
I mean,
So I
our
think
brains
that
and our minds are so much more powerful than we give them credit for. And
we don't
we're at
even
the
know.
cusp. We're at the cusp of just starting to
Barely.
dive in and scratch the surface to understand.
Nibble in the crust. So the human experience also has to do with the experience, your experience with the clinician,
That I fully agree with. You walk into an
right?
appointment and you know, am I going to be comforted? Am I going to feel good? Am I going to feel safe to follow
Heard.
this person into the darkness? Or am I going to be hands up, get me the hell out of here?
Yeah. And so when I lecture to students, they laugh because they could ask me to speak about anything at UC, and I always bring it back to humanism and medicine. I teach them how to touch and palpate lymph nodes in the neck while asking permission and asking for their feedback as you're palpating. And the difference between that and just going up to somebody's neck and going like this and just bringing the human
Huge.
experience back into medicine and reminding them that all medicine started as healers. We were all
Yes.
healers, right?
Yes.
So getting mad at Western medicine when they're not trained in touching, listening, validating. What if they get 0 to 4 hours in nutrition? I mean,
Yeah.
they're just not trained. They're not trained about hydration. Do you know how many patients come back to me and are like, oh my God, my energy is so much better. I'm drinking 2 liters of water a day. I mean, I say I teach medical literacy through lifestyle competency. So
I
I start with
love
the,
that.
I believe everybody's smart.
It's true. Everyone is. And people that want to get better are willing to learn.
And it's not their privilege that they're seeing me. It's my privilege that I get to treat them. Like I try to flip the whole narrative. Like I thank them for coming,
Which is
right?
so
It's part of
important.
the part of the empowering process. So teaching medical literacy and lifestyle competency, I believe, well, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I believe that everybody's smart. And so if I say to someone, drink 2 liters or 1.5 liters of water every day,
Hmm.
are you going to do it? If I say drink
Maybe.
1.5 to 2 liters of water every day, but pre-measure your bottles every day, so you know you have to get through them because our memories are not reliable.
Tricky.
Okay, that's a little further. But if I say drink 1.5 to 2 liters a day,
Uh-huh.
pre-measure your bottles, and I'm going to start at the top of your head, Alex, and go to the bottom of your feet. And without a list in my mind, I'm going to just name everything that is completely dependent on your proper hydration. And I go from your hair to your skin to your eyes to your salivary glands to your blood to your cellular stuff to like every organ. Like I go through vaginal discharge, menstrual blood, breast milk, sweat glands, lymphatic system, toenails, fingernails. Like I go through everything that I can think of. And they almost always, 8 out of every 10 times, go, oh my God, I never knew.
Hmm.
And now I say, are you more
Humanizing.
motivated to drink water? And they're like,
Yes.
yeah. So I do that with food. I do that with my Epic 8 stuff.
Oh, well, let's,
Um,
speaking of, should we go into the Epic 8?
I mean, we can. I think that one thing I want to add about
Yeah.
Western medicine is that you don't get mad at people for not speaking French when they've never taken a French lesson or lived in France.
Amen to that.
And this criticism of Western medicine not being on board or teaching their patients about lifestyle medicine, they don't know. They weren't trained in it, right? They are
Yes.
tech, right? So
Yeah. You don't ask your
so
English teacher to teach you geometry, so you have to go to the people that are experts in what you want to learn about. You
yes,
can't assume the world from one person. That's not fair to put on anybody.
that is not fair to put on anybody. I'm
Mm-mm.
with you there. So, and they're really overburdened, right?
And
I mean,
everyone
primary
is
care
overworked in
world.
medicine.
I mean, yeah. So that's a thing. So they're more about illness maintenance now, right? They're
Correct. Yeah. I
because
think
that's what
detection
they
and
can do.
maintenance.
Yeah. So that's what they can do.
Yeah.
Um, there's one thing that I think helps people understand the difference in philosophy and approach between Eastern medicine and Western medicine. The sun is getting in my eyes. Forgive me, I'm just gonna,
Close it up.
whoops. There we go. Um, in Western medicine, the macrocosm of what they look at is your body and the components of your body, the components of your cellular material, components of blood, your genes, right? The components of your DNA and RNA. Those are the microcosms. So the
Uh-huh.
macrocosm is your physical self, and the microcosms is the components of yourself.
Okay.
In traditional Chinese medicine or East Asian medicine, the microcosm is your physical self, and the
Huh.
macrocosm is everything you come into contact with in the world.
Oh, like your environment. So like really pulling you out. Okay.
Because everything you come into contact with, everything you choose to do, everything you put in your mouth, on your skin,
Think.
quality of even, yeah, oh yeah, think, so important,
Hmm.
affects your health.
Oh, fully, fully, fully. We cannot. I was thinking about that actually earlier today. We cannot live 100% perfectly, like a perfect life in non toxic living or no microplastics. We can't escape that. So to pretend like that none of that is involved in our actual health is
Yeah,
silly because
yeah,
you can't remove one from
yeah.
the other. We are the
Toxic work
environment we live in.
environments.
Oh,
Oh my God.
fully. Oh man,
There's
we could spend a whole episode on that.
so many things I want to say to you right now. So complementary and alternative medicines, East Asian medicine included, is wellness promotion, and Western medicine is illness management. And they're both really important.
Oh, I love how you just said that, Jen. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And to make that jump as a patient to want to do both, I think is at the point of, oh, I've maxed out this one
Yeah.
area and now I need
Yeah.
a little bit more. And
Yeah.
that's a great point actually to be at in your
Yes.
disease because it means you're ready to do more.
But I think it's something like 53% of people don't tell their physicians that they're using any form of complementary or alternative
I'm not
medicine. So
surprised by
there's
that.
a big chasm. And then the other big beef I have is that complementary and alternative lifestyle or medicine should not be bougie. It needs to be accessible to everybody,
Yes.
regardless of socioeconomics. And I'm always working on ways to do that. So, like in the courses that I offer, I always give 10 to 15% of what I offer away to free. If people just send me an email and say, I can't afford your $995 course, no questions asked. So if I have, 100 people taking the course, 15 of them are taking it for free because
You're so cool.
my goal, well, my goal is to make make as many people better through education as possible. So that's a big part of it. So I do teach a lot of stuff. And part of what I teach is with the daily Om. And
Yes.
one of the reasons that I love to give my intellectual energies to that organization is people pay what they can afford,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's three payment options, and I love that,
Me too. It's healing
because,
at its finest.
and I found them when years ago, 15 years ago when I was getting divorced and was poor as could be and needed some guidance, and I found the Daily Home and I
Hey.
paid on the bottom end then, and now I'm a teacher. My first course that I wrote for them, um, which is a science-based lymphatic drainage rescue, almost 13,000 people
Cool.
have taken that course now.
Are you
I know
kidding me?
I feel the same way. I'm like, what?
You're so fucking cool.
I
That's
don't know what I
amazing.
am, but it's all my courses are dense. They're like mini medical courses. It's not like touch yourself here. It's like
No.
understand why you might want to touch yourself there.
Yes. And
Um,
also, like, chronic illness space, those are all people that want to know the XYZ because we're all little mini experts in whatever our diseases are and are
is that
wanting to
not the
become experts on our bodies.
so true? So
Yeah.
true. So yeah, I have a new course that just came out on the Daily Om called Drain Toxins from Your Body. So it's
Oh, tell
knowing
me
where to find
everything.
them, right? Yeah, like in food and beauty and hygiene products and household cleaners and storage containers. And we go through all of that. And then what do you do to actually detox your body? And the lymphatic system is a huge part of that. And then
Will
we
you
have a,
will you give a TLDR to anybody listening that's like, okay, I've heard the word lymphatic. I
oh
have no idea
yeah.
what the hell it means and
If
why
you
it's
tell me
important.
what TLDR means, because I'm almost
Too
60 and I
long,
have no.
too long didn't read.
Oh,
I'll
gotcha.
trade you
Thank
that for
you,
lymphatic.
Teal. All
Brokering
right.
knowledge.
Okay. Your lymphatic system is the system that is right under your skin. It's
Mhm.
like a little freeway of vessels that moves toxins out of your body. This is Western medicine, not anything woo-woo. And your lymph nodes are part of it. Your thymus gland behind your breastbone's part of it. Your spleen is part of it. And so what it does is it takes our cells, even our brains, produce garbage,
Mhm.
right? We use energy and there's byproducts of that energy use. And if we don't get it out of our bodies, we literally have a buildup of toxins. It's called a lymphatic load. We increase our
Hmm.
lymphatic load.
Okay.
And so this lymphatic system that is everywhere in our body. Up here it drains into the common thoracic outlet duct, and there's areas of clusters of lymph nodes in our body, our armpits, our groins,
Mhm.
around our belly button, our
Where we
neck,
sweat.
where we sweat and what can get swollen when we're
Mhm.
sick. And so like there's lymphatic drainage things that you can do to yourself every day, but you always got to drink a ton of water, otherwise you're just moving garbage around and not helping it get out.
See,
Um,
that's a point I didn't appreciate how they linked. I mean, it makes sense, but I had never thought of it
mhm.
in those two little. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And it does other things, like it helps get nutrients around, but mostly it gets toxins out of our body. It takes our cellular living garbage, gets it back into our bloodstream, and then our liver and our kidneys, our intestines get it out. So,
And in the most
um,
layman's terms, is it essentially like, okay, if we have these toxins build up, that causes inflammation, that causes
inflammation
infection.
and fatigue and brain fog and eventually it can lead to chronic illness as well.
Okay.
Um,
And there's our
and
there's our connection, guys. This is
yeah,
why this
so
is important for us.
and we produce garbage no matter how toxic our lives are. So even like a bag of chips a
Totally.
week or soda or juice instead of water, like it's just adding to that burden of our bodies. Our bodies are
Yeah.
amazing that they tolerate what we put in it, honestly. It's
I know
crazy to me.
it's shocking.
Yeah. And then at different seasons of our life that changes. So I did this lymphatic drainage course, the understanding what science supports, because there's so much stuff out there on social media about draining your lymph system. And they were like, does science support all this stuff? And ironically, science doesn't support everything out there on Instagram and TikTok.
What's the most
But
shocking one that it is like, that's not true?
dry brushing,
No.
swear to God.
No.
Yeah. However, secondarily, it does support it. And
Okay, okay.
secondarily, it supports it because tension and
Uh-huh.
stress it's just like a headache, a tension headache. It constricts the lymphatic system so it can't flow as well.
Makes
So if
sense. Okay.
dry brushing relaxes you,
Huh.
then it promotes the lymphatic system. But is it a direct lymphatic system drainer according to science? I mean, people are going to write to you and be like, she's wrong. I could not find anything with scientific rigor that supports dry brushing.
That's
But people love it.
fascinating. I
And
mean,
and
yeah,
we go
it's a
back
good
to the
routine too.
human belief.
Yeah.
Yes. You know,
Yeah.
you're stimulating blood vessels.
Hmm.
Stimulating blood vessels encourages circulation. Encouraging circulation allows toxins to be dumped into the blood to be filtered from the lymphatic system. But
There
was
we
it a
go.
direct lymphatic? No. So it had secondary
Interesting. Okay,
or
well,
tertiary relationship, but not direct. Um, and I learned stuff when I write these courses for everybody, right? I was a little bit shocked. Super supportive of lymphatic drainage massage from certified people.
I love, oh my God, I love lymphatic drainage massage.
But then
Question for
there's
you on that.
nuances. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I remember thinking that lymphatic drainage massage needed to be like heavy pressure. I don't know why I thought this. I was like, they have to get in there and like get it out. Is it true that it's actually light touch?
So there's both.
Okay.
If you're
Okay.
trying to get in there and really drain lymph nodes that are deep in the body, some of it's going to hurt. If you've got
Yeah.
lymphedema already because you've had breast cancer and your arms are swollen or your legs are swollen from wherever lymph nodes had to be removed in your body, and you really want to get in there, yeah, they gotta push fluid through cells and try and find a way to drain it. There's also controversy about is that does that create this concept of seeding in cancer because part of the ways
Mm.
that cancers metastasize as they move through the lymphatic system,
Okay.
cancer cells, most people are still in very much support of using lymphatic massage, especially for this lymphedema or enlarged edemic swelling in limbs
Yeah.
from lymph node removal.
Got it.
Um, yeah. So I there's both kinds. It just depends on what the
What you kind
goal
of
is.
need.
And I'm not an expert in lymphatic massage, and I don't want to, but I believe that there's true validity to both ways.
Amazing.
Um, so I did this lymphatic right course that
Uh-huh.
lots of people took, which made me so happy that people were like, "Yeah, I wanna. Don't just tell me what to do, but explain to me why and
Yeah.
how." And then because I do believe in science, but I like pragmatic research for human beings because at least it takes into account how we practice and non in some non-traditional fields. Um, and then
Yes.
I did this toxins 1 hour. It's a new thing for Daily Om. It's just a 1 hour session on detoxing, learning where toxins are and learning how to detox yourself from it. And then we have this 3 day summit coming June 6th, 7th, and 8th. And on the 8th, I'm doing a course on how your emotions affect the strength of your immune system.
Oh, I want to take that. So
Yeah.
I'm going to sign up for that after
So
this.
anybody listening to this, I don't know if this is coming out soon enough,
Yeah.
but if it does, I have a code if people want, I think 50%
Yes.
off or something. The
Oh my
code
God,
is,
Jen, you're so nice.
I know,
Thank you.
the code is 3017. And for the
3017.
all three
Perfect.
days of the Daily Om Summit.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God,
like
you are
it's like
amazing. Thank you.
10 to 1 uh Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think. And if you
Amazing.
don't if you work and you can't tune in, you have access to the recordings afterwards. But I think that's a 50%
Phenomenal.
discount. Can I ask you a question? Can I like turn this around real quick?
Of course. Yeah.
What's taken me 30 years to understand cause and effect with disease, you
Mhm.
already are in tune to.
Hmm.
You already have kind of like you're an N of one, right? You're your own little
Yeah.
research participant.
True.
And you really you have this amazing head for understanding cause and effect. Like your understanding, like I explain a lot of chronic illness, especially immune disorder, fibromyalgia type things. As what I call the expenditure of prenatal or postnatal energy, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
you utilize your energy determines your moods, your immune
Yeah.
system, development
So
of
much.
disease. But you've already made connections that have literally taken me 30 years, and you've already done podcasts on them. Like, you are not your productivity. Like, I feel like I'm a one-woman army all the time saying to people, your lovability and your value is not tied into your productivity. These are relics from times of war and
Yeah.
industrial revolutions,
They're not
and
ours to
now
carry.
Yeah, like we're giving away our health for jobs that would replace us in a nanosecond. So how
Yeah.
did you do that? How did you, in your N of one, start understanding? Because I think it's really valuable to people. How did you understand cause and effect? It's not blaming. We're all just living life the way we're told to live life, but how did you make those correlations?
It's a really good question. And I don't know if I have a perfect answer for it. I think part of
Mm,
it comes from growing up sick and not knowing different. And so
mm,
when life got a little bit harder and I got sicker, I had already had this mindset of this can't be all of me. This can't stop me from having a beautiful life. This can't be everything. But how do I make it not be everything? And it was just being open minded and curious. I think curiosity is like the number one thing to getting yourself to feeling better because it gets you out of your own ego, it gets you out of your comfortability to try different things and see if there's a cause and effect of making little tweaks and changes. And along that path of being curious, it breaks down your senses of what you're told is what's supposed to be to let you then define what you want to define life to be like. Meaning,
mm,
we're supposed to go and have this career and buy a house and get married and have this white picket fence. That's the American story, the American dream.
mm, mm.
But is that even the dream that you want? Like, does that
Yeah,
sound good to you? So
right.
being curious allows you to try things that test you in a really comfortable, safe way to then decide and form your ideas of what you want your life to be like and that thus your health.
Yeah, I love it. What an inspiration you are for people. And have you found, like, if you were to name the top two or three things that you have found if you do consistently, help you either help you have less flare-ups or ease side effects of treatment, what would those be?
Very much, that's a great question. First, the first thing that popped in my head is how I talk to myself. That
Oh, I
little voice in my
love
head.
it. Yeah.
So I am someone, I struggle with anxiety, I struggle with depression. That just erupted even more when I got sick and when I have flare ups. But I found if
Mm,
I wake up every morning, and I'm someone who wakes up and usually is woken up by pain. My joints hurt, I can't lay in bed forever, I get uncomfortable. But if I let my first thought be, man, I'm in pain, I don't feel good, I am not going to have a good day and I am not going to feel good.
mm,
So I challenge myself every day to wake up and say, okay, open your eyes and name three good things. And if I can do that, that genuinely helps me have a good day and feel better. So I think your mindset, that's number one. Number two for me is also how I treat myself. So not just how I talk to myself, but how I treat myself. Living that 100%, I have to be perfect on my diet, perfect on my lifestyle, perfect on taking my medicine at every single correct hour is so much pressure. And we're not supposed to confuse taking your medications at the right hour or eating a perfect diet with a lion chasing you. Your fight or flight response to that does not need to be the same degree. So, treating yourself with grace and kindness and gentleness and saying it's okay to be human. It's not failing if you don't do everything perfectly. It's
that's
actually
right.
perfect for you and your body and your moment in life right now. And that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
It's not about perfectionism. The beauty, right? Is that all effort
Yeah.
counts in this game.
Yeah. And then last one is just the people that you surround yourself with. I think being
Mm,
chronically ill I say it time and time again, it's like the greatest filter in life. It will take you out of toxic jobs and toxic relationships. And when you cut all that shit out of your life, it is shocking how much more time you have then to feeling better. That can also look
mm.
like sitting, you might feel like absolute asshole and you sit on the couch with your best friend because they get it and they understand, or you're FaceTiming with your best friend and they get it and they understand. You're gonna feel better afterwards because you just feel seen and heard. So those are my three very touchy feely woo woo things that I do that have helped me always feel better. And then that's just supported that all of those things then support which kind of diets I choose to eat, going outside, like making these little routines and habits spiritual to me, or the cornerstone to my healing path and my healing modality. And it's just allowed me to, I think, find happiness and joy in every day. And that little
Mm.
piece right there is really important to healing. And I don't think it gets enough credit.
Yep. I want to reframe the woo-woo part. I think that it's the part that's been bred out of us and the most natural thing, and that it has been
Yeah.
labeled as something less valid, I think is the most
Yeah.
ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I think you're right.
You
I think it's
know,
not woo woo. I think it's actually just
it's
like that's the
not.
most human part. Like,
It's the
I'm not a
human
doctor.
experience.
I'm not a doctor.
So
I can't do all these things to make myself feel better, but I can set myself up with the human component.
the foundational epic eight.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Do you want me to tell you what they are? Which
Please.
I'm so happy to do because this is not brain surgery. When I say this stuff is basic, I mean it is basic.
It's basic, but we overlook it. It's just,
We do.
yeah.
Diet. Do you know that even one fast food meal a week can increase your chance of depression by, I forget what it is, like 20%?
I'm not surprised
Because
by
the
that.
90% of our serotonin is made in our gut.
Mm-hmm.
And what we are learning and have learned is that our gut microbiome, the health of all the little microbiota in our intestines, the health of those little things, whether we feed them or starve them, has so much to do with our mental health. It's crazy. And our immune systems and our ability to develop chronic disease has everything to do with how healthy your gut is, which has everything
Makes
to do
sense.
with what we eat
Mm-hmm.
and also how we manage our emotions, right?
Yes.
Listen to your gut. What is your gut telling you? Where do you think that came from? Hydration. Oh my God, we do not drink enough. We are either like hyperhydrators, right? Like the exercise world, or we're
Yes.
just chronically dehydrated.
Most of America.
And so
Most of the world,
that's number,
honestly.
yeah, yeah. Um, that is number two. Number three is sleep. Do you know that most of our body detoxes are the natural garbage when we sleep? It's when
I did not know that, but it makes
our
sense.
brain dumps all of that toxic stuff while we're sleeping. So when we're not sleeping and we can't think well the next day,
That's why.
just garbage
Hmm.
floating around in there. I mean, it's a deep oversimplification, but nonetheless true.
Yeah.
So what we eat, and that's a how, what, when, and where. Okay, it's not just what you put in your mouth, it's how it's prepared, whether you're eating seasonally and locally,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to be rich to eat vegetables. You just have to have time. And for me, it's always like that parent that's working three or four jobs and
Yeah.
supporting their
Doesn't have the
children and
time.
paying rent. Like, how do you make this valid to somebody where it's just so much easier to stop at McDonald's on the way home? When they got no
Yeah.
effort, energy left. So I'm always
And then
working on
layer
like
in you're
skill
sick.
sets around that.
Layer
And
in you're
then
sick
if
and you're
you,
out of spoons and you're exhausted. And how do you
oh,
have the space left in your soul to do it?
but
This is
like
where
we just said,
community is so important. And I hope as we continue to kind of move in the direction of focusing on kind of foundational health elements, that's where the shift and change happens. Because if you can lean on each
hmm
other, that's how you get access to things when you are depleted.
absolutely. It's interesting you say that. One of the big things at UCSF since, in certain areas, and certainly since COVID, is group medical visits. And
Huh.
because we're so impacted, it's a way of seeing more patients at once. But I'm like, well, slow down. There's a history to why group medical visits exist. Right, there's a history
Yeah.
of doctors. There's one in the 60s, I believe, I've forgotten his name. For acupuncture, it was the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords that used
Uh huh.
acupuncture. They called it the people's medicine. It was the great equalizing medicine to treat
No idea.
underrepresented and underserved populations that were where the medical bias was so extreme that we're facing. It was crack, it was heroin. Well,
Yeah.
first it was heroin, then it was crack, then it was HIV, AIDS.
Yep.
Um, but anyway, group medical visits are not new by any stretch of the imagination. But group medical visits also create cohorts of people with a shared experience.
Yeah. Ain't that the
And I
truth?
know a
Wow.
lot of them happen on Zoom and online, but those that can happen in person, I mean, a lot of what when I'm creating something, to teach. I always think about its scalability to be able to serve the greatest number of people possible. And
Hmm.
in that serving is what happens when after they're away from me in that hour, creating cohorts. So as I teach live courses, we try to have platforms where those people can stay in touch with each other
So
and
important.
chat about what's working and what's not working. But then they always have access to me too, so that
Yeah.
we have a question, you know?
There's a direct line.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm believe so in the eating, the who, what, where, when, and how, it's also like taking the time to eat. As simple as looking at your food and going, oh my God, how did this even get on my plate? From being grown, planted, grown, harvested, shipped, packaged, whatever, in the
Yeah.
store or at the farmer's market. Like there's so many steps before I get it home. Like what an amazing process those things are. So taking a moment to acknowledge what's nourishing you. I'm not great at that all the time, but I do try. I'm eating seasonally, locally with people. We digest better when we're having a non-stressful experience with other people. I saw somebody on social media say the other day, sadly, my system can't differentiate um, being at war or sitting at the table with my family. And I was like,
Oh.
ooh, right? Like
Oh.
toxic table time. This is the opposite of like the goal, but just being able to eat with community, finding ways so that people aren't isolated, right?
Yeah.
Isolation is so detrimental to health for most. There are some people that thrive better in isolation, but we're
Totally.
talking about pathological isolation. Um, and then, so we've got food, we've got hydration, sleep, detox, sleep time. As I've aged, what I've learned is I have to be in bed an hour longer than the number of hours I want to sleep to get my sleep in.
Oh,
If I need to
that
sleep eight
resonates.
hours, I need
Yes.
to be in bed for 9 hours because I'm going
Yes.
to get up to pee and I'm going to get too
Yep.
hot. I'm going to get too cold because I'm postmenopausal.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And then breath work. Do you know most of us are like crazy inefficient breathers? We breathe, it
Exceptionally.
sans any like sinus trouble. We breathe most efficiently when we sleep, and that's when you see people's stomach rising and falling. Yeah, we're really shallow breathers daytime. So breath
Yeah.
work is important for your overall health. So we've got diet, hydration, sleep, breath work, movement and exercise. Crazy important. I say there's four different kinds of
Hmm.
exercise: cardio, strength training, balance and flexibility, really important for aging and healthy joints. And then what I
Hmm.
call yin style exercise. And this is the exercise that replenishes you more than it requires,
Ah.
right? So it's a walk
Okay.
in the woods. It's yin style yoga. It is taking the time to stretch before bed or when you wake up. It is Tai Chi or Qigong. These are things that build you internally without a ton of output. Like being in a really stressful job, getting off work and going to spin class. Oi,
That's what I
I mean, I
used to
can
do.
almost,
It
yeah,
was
I can
awful.
predict what's going to happen to people's health after years if that's the way that you're just a body. Like you're shooting
You're
jet
just
fuel through a
cortisol at that
Volkswagen.
point.
Yeah, that's right. You're just a little walking, bouncing cortisol.
Yeah.
So movement and exercise, the current recommendation, even for people going through chemotherapy, is 150 minutes a week of elevated heart rate.
Really?
And there's a oncologist, a wonderful oncologist. Her name's Natalie Marshall. She used to be an Olympic weight lifter. Um, we were in a conference speaking together, and I just got done telling everybody to preserve their energy, listen to their body's energy. And she comes on and she's like, "You need to be moving 150 minutes a week." And I'm like, "Whoa."
God damn
And she,
it.
but listen, she said it's about elevated heart rate, not about cardio. So if
Huh,
you're on the
okay.
if you're on like infusion number 25 and walking to the bathroom elevates your heart rate, that's part of your 150 minutes a week. It's about hitting the 150 minutes,
Oh,
however,
hell yeah.
whatever stage of
However that
constitutional
looks.
strength you're at. So that's number five. Let's see, diet, hydration, sleep, breath work, movement and exercise, gut health and pooping. I talk a lot about pooping. Yeah, I was the
It's
poop
so
doctor for a
it's
little
so
while on
important.
TikTok.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Nobody
Good.
nobody knows what normal pooping is or what normal gut health is. So I talk about a lot about normal gut health and the importance of the gut microbiome. So
Love
to
that.
those six essential lifestyle skills, I add two practices. First is the practice of finding joy and awe every day. I say joy is an inside job and awe is an outside job. There are days when you cannot
Hmm.
get it going on the inside.
So true.
Go outside, look around, look up.
Yeah.
Like find something that takes your breath away. So the research specifically on awe, what it does for our innate immune systems and our ability to fight disease is irrefutable. That's Western. Do you know that laughter can release chemicals that switches the strength of your immune system within an hour?
That doesn't surprise me, and I love that fact.
I know. How, like, I think sometimes, how many times did I laugh today? I love laughing.
That is how I measure a good day. Cooper and I have a thing where we say to each other, what percent of a good day are you having? And my
Mm.
target is always if I've laughed, like belly laughed at least once, it's going to at least be an 80% good day. Like
Oh, that's so good. I love
we're
it.
going to at
We do
least get
that
there.
too.
And
We
we
have the
only
like,
watch
where are you at
funny.
today?
Yeah, and we only watch funnies when, especially if I'm in like a depressive low. It's SNL, it's stand up, it's Family Guy, it's Bob's Burgers, like
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
can get me to laugh my ass off. That's all we're
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
There's so much power in comedy and humor and just letting that like child out of you. The good belly laugh.
Yeah, it releases the good chemicals. We don't do it with laughter.
Yeah.
We just kind of do like, where are you today? And I'll be like, I'm at
Yeah.
70%. And he'll be like, I'm at 20. I'm like, I got you. That's Brene Brown
Yes.
work. But I love doing it with
Yes.
the laughter meter. I think
The
that's
laughter meter.
awesome.
Because it's
So
not an
joy
energy
and
thing. It's a how your head's feeling, how your heart's
yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Yeah, like how we're sitting in our body. Yeah, that's so true.
Hmm.
So we got the six, and then we've got joy and awe as a practice. And the last one, which I think is probably the hardest of the epic eight, is tools to not embody stress.
Oh,
So it's not
that
a
is so
statement
hard.
about, it is. It's not a statement about not having stress. It's modern times. We all have stress. It's a statement about being very careful about not defining ourselves by our stress, right?
Yeah.
Multi being the notion that we are failing if we are not multitasking and stressed out is making all of us sick.
Oh
All of
yeah.
us. It
Yeah.
is the biggest myth fed to us in our industrial work complex. It is not okay.
No.
So tools to not embody stress. We're going to have stress. Don't define yourself by it because you will eventually, something's going to break eventually in your
Yeah.
body.
Hmm.
And to also to be gaining tools to be able to differentiate when a tiger is chasing you and when it's an inconvenient email so that we're not releasing the same stress hormones all the time because that chronic stress, not all inflammation and stress is bad.
Totally. And that's also like a huge misconception.
Yeah. Chronic stress is bad.
Yeah.
Chronic stress is terrible for like every single system we have in our body.
That's a misnomer. Like, why do so many people write off how bad chronic stress is for us?
Because industry with a capital I
Yeah.
feeds us the notion that our back to the beginning of our conversation that our value is directly proportional to our productivity. We are
Yeah.
fed it
Yeah.
everywhere. What is the comedian? Oh my God, what's her name? She says, oh, so Ollie and I do comedy. Well, we'll get to that later. Um,
Oh my God. Cannot wait
um,
to hear about this.
what
You
is her
are
name? It's
so cool.
Melissa or something. It's Melissa. We don't do comedy. I mean, we watch comedy. Like that's
Oh,
our
okay.
decompression thing. Sorry. Oh,
Likewise.
I wish
Likewise.
I'm not that funny.
Me
I think
neither. I
I'm that
wish I
funny. I'm
was.
the only one. Yeah. Um, um, she does a thing called "Why do we say you can have it all?"
Yeah.
I don't
Oh, God.
want to have it all. All
Yes.
is exhausting, right?
All is too
Um,
much.
all is too much. We're just one
Hmm.
person. So I think we are fed in media, in movies, I mean, in our jobs,
Yeah.
everywhere we are fed that, like you said, the white picket fence, the goal, it's not about us. It all boils down to productivity. for industries that will replace us in a nanosecond. Literally, we think, oh my God, my job, I need to return these emails. It's Sunday night. Are you kidding me? They'd have you replaced in 2 days. Like, stop
Oh,
giving your
or
health
so
away
fast.
for industry. Like, find other senses of worth. Oh
Yes.
God, I mean, that gets me all into like self-care as a revolution as opposed to like, self-care. There's a couple of areas where it was coined, one with an African American woman as a form of self-revolution, but it is like
It
redefining
is.
where you want to spend your energy is an act of revolution. So people say to me sometimes, what's the difference between self-care and self-centered behavior?
Uh-huh.
Intention,
Hell yeah.
right?
Hell
So
yeah.
self-centered behavior is when what you do is just for you, right? This is not understanding that what you do affects your environment, your surroundings, your people, your community, your environment, the planet, right?
Yes.
Self-care is taking care of yourself first, filling your own cup first, because if we keep pouring from an empty cup, we're all end up with chronic illness. I mean, I killed
Hmm.
my thyroid, right?
Hmm.
Um, Self-care is an act of self-revolution against a system that wants to feed us the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's filling our own cup, our own chalice, our own vessel first so that we are a better friend, mother, partner, wife, husband, person, and then
Healer.
community member.
Yes.
Yes, better member of society. And then on the larger level, being good stewards of planetary health.
Yeah.
Because when we're not consuming fast food and and we're paying attention to not having plastics, our food wrapped in plastics and blah, blah, blah. Like it's the ripple effect.
It has so much more than we even know.
So self-care is an act of self-revolution, and the
I love that.
idea of multitasking and being stressed out being some kind of gauge monitor of our worth and sometimes even our lovability in families. Like you have to go to an Ivy League, you have to have a profession. I mean, do you know who like yeah, I'm going down too many different roads here, but it's all
No, I'm
tied
right
in
there with you.
together. It's all tied in there
It
together,
is all
and
tied in together.
we're feeding billionaires and we're getting sicker and it's broken. So take care of yourselves. It's the number one
Yeah.
thing you can do
It's the
when
biggest
you
commitment that you can make. And if we're so
Mhm.
willing to pour into the monetary exchange for work, pouring into something to get something
Yeah.
in return, just think what if you could pour that into yourself, what you would get in return? And it's crazy. It breaks your brain because you go, oh, man, I could feel a lot better. And then all of the other aspects and trickle down effects will look a lot better. And it's just this, you're right, it's a step in a revolution to changing how your mind works, which then changes how you heal and how your body works.
You're role modeling,
Yeah. You're helping.
right? You get to role model for children and friends and family members that don't know how. It's not about perfectionism. Right? Like that voice in our heads. I mean, we're all fighting our cultural conditioning, our family patterning, our societal messaging. Like we all go through it, and women have it hard in a different way than men. I do believe men have it hard. They're not allowed to really tap into themselves, it's considered weakness and you know, um, toxic masculinity stems from that. And we are overspent because there's nowhere that we get to be off. And so self-care, it's not about, again, not about perfectionism. All effort counts. And so the internal voice and being a master of habit changes, which is what it takes for lifestyle medicine in this modern world of just insane food complexes and expectations. It's just starting with the one thing that you find that feels better. So start with hydration, or start with sleep hygiene, or start with making sure that on a plate that the greatest majority of food on that plate is vegetables, not meat or starch. you know? Find the thing that speaks to you because you will see positive outcomes from minor changes.
Oh, yes, that what you just said is hitting the nail on the head. I just wrote a blog article for Higher Dose. And in it I wrote they asked me like what or during the interview they asked me what is like the one tip that you would give? And I said give yourself easy layups. Like if you're going to
Yeah,
make these
right.
changes in your life, give yourself easy layups. Every year, one or not every year, once a month I like to sit down and focus like what's my core focus of one of the strangely enough, one of those foundational items. Is it sleep hygiene this month? Is it diet? Is it whatever? And as I'm looking at that, then I give myself little layups every single day so by the end of that month, you have all these new habits that you've integrated into your life that have been so easy because they've felt like little wins. And so it's not
Yeah,
perfectionism, but it's reaching a goal. It's feeling that success and growth that you're cultivating for yourself. It's really I think
yeah.
it's a good way to approach it.
I think also because I like the reflective, and I also believe in when creating habit mastery, having
Hmm.
our memories are not reliable.
Oh hell no.
And so in my live course, I have after the course, which is 9 weeks,
Uh-huh.
10 weeks really. There's a secret bonus breathing course, but
Of
don't tell
course there is. I love that.
anyone. Then there's 10 weeks of the Epic 8 foundational lifestyle stuff. There's 10 weeks where every day you mark off what you did. And then every week you have a reflection. And then at the end of the 10
So
weeks, you
good.
reflect on like, what is now an actual habit for me? Where am I feeling better? Where can I put more effort into improvement? So the course is not just listen to me babble like I am now. It's like setting you up so that what I'm teaching you can have lasting effects, so that you now have a toolbox forever when you're not feeling well. What did I eat and when? How much
Yeah.
did I drink? How did I sleep? All of the things. How many deep breaths have I intentionally taken today? Right?
Yeah.
So you check in on your toolbox before you're like, oh my God, I'm having a bad day. Like, what can I correct? What
Yeah.
can I adjust
Recalibrate.
for? Yeah. Yep.
Gosh, that's amazing. You are amazing. I love thank you
You are
for
amazing.
oh, thank you. I
You're
love how
welcome.
you have spent your life learning and then going beyond that and saying, how do I break this down and make it doable for other people? You make me excited to go dive into foundational eights. You make me excited to go and learn more and want to experience healing in a different way that's just simple and soft and slow, but so impactful.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And
Well,
I'll keep refining because I've probably only got another 5 to 7 years in me. My priorities are changing a little bit as
yeah,
I've approached
totally.
60,
As they
and I
should.
want to have as much out there to help as many people as possible before I go do something else.
Well, I can't wait to be along for the ride for all of this because
Oh, you
you just
totally will. But
you
you and I
keep just
bonded.
upgrading and upgrading.
Yeah, you did get off that call, and I got off that call, and I was like, how did this young woman who's facing so much draw so many of the same conclusions that I have with her N of one? And my all my education took me so long to draw this, and you really are incredible, and you're
Thank you.
inspirational, and you're doing amazing things for other people in your position. Don't stop.
Thank you. It
Yeah, but do
it
it at your
makes
own
me so
pace.
yes, that is the lesson I am learning this year. But I feel so incredibly grateful that I get to do this and have this community and platform to grow with. I truly feel like every week, it's either a guest episode or it's a solo episode, and I'm walking away feeling like there's a new version of myself I've just met. And getting to do that in front of other people and alongside them is healing different parts of me I didn't know needed to be
Mm,
healed. And it's just doing it in a
mm.
community way that is impactful, which is amazing that
Yeah,
we get to do it together.
yeah, right on.
Well, to wrap my show, I like to do something kind
Yes.
of silly and a little sticky, but in the chronic illness community, we have duvet days when we do not feel well and we are surrendering to saying no to do lists. Fuck all of that. We are laying down and we are committing to resting today. And so during our duvet days, we have one brain cell shows. And that can be whatever you are watching, TV or movie that has captivated your attention. It can be intense, it can be silly. What is your go-to one brain cell show these days?
So Ollie and I immediately go to comedy, stand-up comedy.
I'm
I
so happy to hear
am
that. I
a
can't wait to
Joe
hear what you guys
Coy.
like.
Oh my God, Joe Coy. What's his name? Steve Jesselnick.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, like I can watch the
Yes. Oh
same
my gosh.
routines over and
Phenomenal.
over again. Coy's thing about his mom's pea cup, one of the greatest joys of my life. So a lot of stand-up
Yes.
comedy.
Phenomenal.
One of the reasons that I'm catching up on sleep is we literally just binged all three seasons of White Lotus.
Oh, so good.
I, what is her name? Jennifer
Coolidge.
Coolidge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then to see Parker Posey back in my life.
So good.
Oh, Parker Posey's such a part of my early adulthood. She was the queen of indie, and for her to come back in such a irreverent and just like unapologetic Southern way, I was just like, oh my
Yes.
God, I just love her so much. So those
She's
have been my,
awesome.
and I do check out when I'm over, when I've got too much that I need to produce,
Hmm.
I check out.
It's one of the
And I
greatest
do it,
skills to
I do
develop.
it that way. Yeah, I can't do documentaries. I
No,
can't do heavy films. I
no,
need to just and I'm trying not to doom scroll. I have to keep my finger on the pulse a little bit, but I'm really
of
trying to
course.
not doom scroll. I've taken a bit of a social media break, but now for all the reasons I mentioned earlier,
Getting
I
back on the
mean
horse.
getting back on the social media horse, getting hopefully going to be hiring this woman to do it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't always know the best way to do it. Like, how do you do it? Great, let's do it that way. It's
Yeah.
so new for me, but I'm, almost 30 years older than you. But we get there when we get there.
Yes, we do. We're all on our own little trajectories to get to the
Yeah,
same place at the end of the day.
true story. It's been so fun speaking with you again. I can't talk about this stuff
Likewise.
enough, so thanks for giving me a platform to blab.
Thanks for coming on and gabbing with me. It is such a treat to have you.
Anytime.
I don't know if you have been told this before, but you are literally human Xanax. It is so peaceful to be
Oh,
around you and just like leaves little hope seeds in my heart and what I want to do and
oh,
chase. So thanks for being you and sharing all of your knowledge with my community and audience. I really appreciate it.
you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Thanks for calling in sick with us, and we'll see you next week. Love you. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Calling in Sick. As a reminder, I would love, love, love for y'all to like, follow, subscribe, save, share with a friend, do all of the things. It truly, truly helps grow this community and it helps these episodes reach the people that need them the most, whether that's for an educational piece, to have a little laugh, or to not feel so alone. As a reminder, Calling in Sick sits on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else where you can find your listens. From the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for calling in sick with me every Monday. It's been an honor and a pleasure so far, and I can't wait to continue. I can't wait to continue building this community with y'all. Love you.